Hello YouTube, Byron at Splitting Slices. Welcome back to the channel. It is Wednesday, February 26, 2025. 2 more days for this month and then we are into March. Where has the time gone since Christmas? Don't know, but we're going to do a video today. I'm doing an open tag response to Patty's Potato Peelers channel, who asked us to show him our favorite Barlows. Well, I've only got, I think, 2 more Barlows than the group that you see here on the table. But what I want to do is get it down to a top 5, at least the top 5 that I have in my collection. So I've got 7 Barlows here on the table. I'm going to have to eliminate 2 of these. I guess we could call them honorable mentions. So let me go ahead. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I think I'm going to have to start here. Let's take a look at this Barlow. This is a new, modern, traditional Barlow. This is the Rosecraft Blades Beaver Creek Barlow with a sheepsfoot blade, nice swedge on the end of the blade at that clip, has a nice fluted bolster, D2 steel. I think we're right around 2 3/4 inch blade on this. And I think we're just about 3 inches overall. Now, made in China. And this has got the smoky gray bone scales on this. Designed by Andy Armstrong. And is a fantastic little Barlow. But folks, I'm going to put this in my honorable mention category because for me, it's just a tad too short. This is a perfect 5th pocket carry for me, but in order to get a good grip on it, I basically just have three fingers, and I can use it, but barely. So it's a good utility blade if you've got to open up packages and do some light duty work like that, maybe open envelopes, but as far as like a work knife with extra large hands, this one's a little tough to use. So although I really appreciate the quality and the color of these bone scales and the overall manufacturing capabilities that Rosecraft Blades has with their OEM and Andy's design language, this one for me is just a tad too small. So we're going to go ahead and put this one off to the side, and that will be our first honorable mention. Now, let's take a look at what we got here. All right, now down to 6. I'm going to have to eliminate another one. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to use the same technique. We're going to go eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Must be it. This is the Kershaw Culpepper. Now, they make this in 2 different styles. They make it in a double detent, or they make it in the slip joint version. Now, this is a really nice clip point blade, jimping up on the spine of the blade. This is what I would also call a modern traditional. About a 3-inch blade. D2 steel as well on this. And a nice large copper handle. Now, this knife, I can get all 4 fingers on it. I can get my thumb up on that thumb ramp. This feels really good in the hand. The issue with this knife for me, though, is it has a really weak pull. I want to say it's probably someplace between a 4 to 5, maybe even a little lighter, 3.5 to 4.5 pull on this, and I can really move this blade very easily with just some slight pressure on my thumb. So while I really appreciate the feel in the hand, the textured copper handles or covers on this one, and that sharp D2 steel, it's a large knife, but just has a little bit too weak a pull for my taste. So I think the last honorable mention will be that Kershaw Culpepper in D2 steel and copper. So we will set that off to the side here. And now we're left with, I guess, my top 5 Barlows that I have in my collection. Now I have a couple more, but they're either got the same criteria issues that these 2 have, so these were my favorite of what I have left. So let's talk about these 5. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the first one. And honestly, these are basically arranged in order of price. So I kind of wanted to try to have a collection of my top 5 at different price points and different configurations. And so this is why I am doing this top 5. So let's start out with the budget Barlow. Here we go, the Bombshell Barlow. Now, the Novelty Knife Company made 4 of these with different pinup girls based on World War II type posters. Used to be painted on the sides of aircraft, especially some of our B-52 bombers, but others as well. Says Barlow on the bolster and actually has 2 different blades on it. So we have the main clip point blade, which I think is basically just a 440A type steel, and we have the pen blade. But this knife right now, I think you can purchase at Chicago Knife Works. I think it's like $4. Now for $4, why wouldn't you get this as just a little fun knife to have for a pocket? I don't know how you beat this. $4, Novelty Knife Company. This is the Bombshell Barlow. Comes in 4 different pinups, and this is pinup number 1 for me. So there we go. Now let's take a look at the next 2 Barlows. Now these are brand new to my collection. I honestly can't talk about them that much other than to give you the specs, but we've already gone over these in a 2 for Tuesday. So we're just going to cover these quickly. The first one, I believe, is a Michael May Barlow, pardon me. This is made in Sheffield, England. All right, I believe it has oak for the covers, 3 pins, brass bolster, stamped Michael May, and a beautiful clip point blade of 01 tool steel, pardon me. So there you go. Just a very nice custom Barlow, and that worked backspring, which is actually extended up about a 3/4 of an inch up the spine of the blade. So just a really nice knife to carry. Very strong pull on this. I'm going to say probably like between an 8 to 9 on the pull on this one, which is also one reason why I like this knife. It's a good medium-sized knife with a strong pull, which I think it should be a basic characteristic of any Barlow. All right, let's go to number 3. Number 3 is also brand new to the collection. These 2 knives were won in Randy's raffle. It was a memorial raffle for Randy's WSG. And this one is an Ashley Harrison, pardon me. This is an Ashley Harrison Barlow with nickel silver bolster, brass pins, a spear point of 01 steel, tool steel, and also a worked spine, backspring. Brass liners, and I believe this is a spalted maple or a spalted beech wood for the covers. I believe it's maple. Again, about a 3-inch spear and about 3 1/4 inches overall. Good medium-sized knife. Very heavy pull. I want to say this one's probably between a 7.5 to 8.5 on the pull on this one. But a real nice Barlow and a great addition to my collection. Now we're going to get to my final 2, and these are both modern Barlows, and they're produced by the same company and designed by the same company. These, I believe, were both made by QSP for traditional pocket knives, or C. Risner Cutlery. That's Austin, who is now the owner of the company, started by his grandfather. The first one is the Lake Champlain Barlow. And this one is in the Sawcut titanium scales with the Sheepsfoot blade. This is M390 titanium scales, a modern bolster, modern knife one fluted bolster, on one flute on the back. Little oil there, just oiled it up not too long ago. But a really nice, very comfortable, classy looking blade. And one of the reasons I like it is because I can get a full 4-finger grip on the handle with my thumb up on the spring. And that spring, again, is probably about a 7 to 8, so a nice stiff spring. Barely can move it with my thumb. And just a nice blade for utility cuts. Also love the fuller nail nick in it. Just a great knife. No gapping whatsoever. Manufactured very well by QSP. This is the TPK Lake Champlain Barlow in the Sheepsfoot configuration. And finally, we're going to get to the last and probably the favorite in my collection, basically because of its size and its blade shape. I'm always a sucker for a good clip point or a bowie style blade. This is the Appalachian Ridgerunner, which was introduced here, about 6 to 8 months ago from TPK. And this has a triple fluted bolster, a faux bolster. It has the corncob style jigged handle, which is about 4 inches long, and has a beautiful clip point blade of S90V steel. And look at that knife. Jimping on the spine of the blade, a fuller nail nick on both sides. Again, S90V steel. See Risner on one side, Appalachian Ridgerunner marked on the other for the etching on the tang. Titanium scale, screwed construction. So this is a modern Barlow. Check out the back, not a gap in it. Beautifully manufactured. A big knife. Big Barlow, which is probably the reason I like it the most. It's the largest knife that I've got as far as a Barlow style. And a really beautiful clip point bowie blade on that. Look at that. Plenty. I've got 4 fingers with a little left over. I could choke up, I could choke back, and the thumb falls right on that jimping. Just a really good big work knife. And again, a 7 to 8 on that spring. Now this one I can barely even move with my thumb pushing on it. So a really, not only a big knife, but a heavy duty knife for actually doing work type tasks. So this is probably the favorite in my collection right now. I'm hoping to get more pocket time and use time with the 2 Sheffield Barlows because I do enjoy the tradition, the honor, the legacy of the Sheffield brand of Barlows. Of course, the Barlow design came back from England or came over from England, so I want to definitely get some more pocket time of them. But for right now, for the time being, I kind of lean toward these modern style Barlows, and the Appalachian Ridgerunner, because of its size and because of that sharp S90 blade, is my favorite. So those are my top 5 Barlows with a couple honorable mentions. This is Byron from Splitting Slices. I hope that answers your question, Patty, and all of those that are doing the Barlow videos. And until I see you again, split a slice with a friend soon, wouldn't you? Take care, everyone.